Joining us now, Linda McMahon, former Small Business Administration Administrator. It's great to see you.
Thank you.
Linda, we'd like to make it really easy, obviously, but then again, you don't want to make fraud easy. It sounds like a very difficult, a fine line to try to, or a needle to thread. Can we do this? Can we trust the banks and the government to work together on doing this right?
Well, I think Kayla certainly, outlined the situation very well. But I do know that this is an opportunity for the private sector and the public sector to work very well together. Though there will be some challenges in this program, there's no doubt about it. But I think, as you were talking about earlier, seeing the increase, in unemployment, it's imperative that this money does get into the hands of small businesses who actually employ about half the workforce in the country. So I think the fact that so many small businesses are offline, if you will, right now, and their employees are either laid off or being furloughed, the president wants to make sure that we can get these employees either rehired or hold on to them. So by giving these loans to small businesses and having small businesses go directly to their lender and not process it through SBA is one of the ways that there's going to be an ease in making these loans. Now, you can go on SBA.gov or you can go on Treasury.gov and download the application and send it into your local lender. But it is a challenge, but I think that we're going to see money get into the hands of many small businesses really quickly, and that's certainly the president's directive.
Some of the concerns were addressed, and that people are already laid off, and to qualify for forgiveness, you need to rehire people. So a lot of these things were dealt with, but the one thing that people still worry about is how quickly we could go through the $349 billion, and then does it run out, and then someone that's a little bit late finds that the funds are already gone? Do we raise the cap? How's that going to work?
Well, I heard Secretary Mnuchin yesterday say that if this was not adequate, then they would refund it, with more money. But this does give small businesses an opportunity, for 8 weeks to borrow the money, to rehire, to keep people on staff, to pay their overhead, their rent, their mortgages for the business. And if they do that for these loans for this 8-week period, those loans are forgiven. Now, if the loan is for a larger amount than for those 8 weeks of payroll on their application, then they can defer the amount that's left on that loan. But the first 8 weeks, does get forgiven. So it's really a great program for small businesses. And I urge them to go to Treasury.gov or SBA.gov and submit their applications. And I urge the banks also who want to get their approval applications in, from Treasury. Treasury does need to get those online. So I expect they'll go online today because this program is going to get rolled out tomorrow.
Linda, I was on the phone with a small business owner yesterday who was dealing with this, trying to make sense of whether to take the loan, how to do it, what to do. And their worry, they're in New York City, is that their business is going to slow materially even in 2 months from now. Even if they're able to open up shop, their worry is that they're not going to necessarily have the kind of business they had previously. Their expectation was that they thought this was going to run sometime through the fall in terms of a slower business getting back to normal. And so they were really kind of concerned about, should they take the loan and put everybody back on payroll with knowing, or at least expecting, that things are not going to get better? Or should they take the gamble that somehow the government may try to help them again if things don't get better? What do you tell that small business owner?
That's so difficult because the business owner themselves knows what their business is capable of doing. And I think, though, it's much easier to have your business go forward again if you've got employee retention. If you don't have those employees, if you have to recreate that staff, because some of these furloughed or laid off employees, aren't going to come back. And unfortunately, sometimes businesses aren't going to come back. But I think by and large, small businesses, entrepreneurs find a way to keep their businesses going and to, it's that entrepreneurial spirit that probably put them in business in the first place. So I think this lifeline that the government is extending to small businesses is going to be very helpful.